everyone, and welcome back to your favorite show for all things gaming and rarely tech related, Gentoo. As always, we're your hosts, Cade Cox
and Chris Young. This week sees a couple of familiar titles make their debut on a new platform as well as a new multiplayer mode for Watch Dogs Legions.
First up, we have Apex Legends, the hero shooter battle royale released on February 4th of 2019. 2 years later, and it is finally making its way to Nintendo Switch on March 9th. Having just implemented crossplay, as well as having a record-breaking peak of concurrent players on Steam last week, there hasn't been a better time to drop in with your friends.
Next, we have a new cooperative mode for Watch Dogs Legions. Having released late last year, Legion was absent of any co-op, which has been a popular feature of the previous entry in the series. It seems as though Watch Dogs Legions Online is set to be an entirely different experience compared to the game's existing single player. This is meant to be played with friends, races, vehicle destruction, assassination, and many other tasks that will be familiar to Legion players can be taken on with up to 4 players. This update will go live on the game on Tuesday, March 9th.
Closing out the week sees Crash Bandicoot 4 receiving a next-gen upgrade. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, is making its way to PS5, Xbox Series X and Series S, Nintendo Switch, and more this year, following its 2020 debut on PS4 and Xbox One. The PS5 and Xbox Series X versions will run natively at 4K 60 FPS, while the Xbox Series S version will run at 60 FPS with an upscale to 4K. These next-gen versions will also include faster loading times and 3D audio. Players who have already purchased It's About Time on PS4 or Xbox One can upgrade to the respective next-gen version at no extra cost on March 12th.
That's all for our news. Next up, watch Cade get a 9-to-5 job on a different reality.
Have you seen the latest sales report?
Welcome back everyone to a new episode of A Different Reality, where you've listened to me talk about whatever VR game I'm playing this week. I'm Cade Cox, and this week's game is Job Simulator. Have you ever gotten home from work and thought, man, I sure wish there was a way for me to do all of that, but here at home? Yeah, I didn't think so, but if you have, there is something for that, and it's called Job Simulator. Okay, well this game is definitely not like any real job, but it does make sitting in a cubicle or behind a counter at a gas station very interesting. In Job Simulator, you have 4 choices of jobs: office worker, chef, convenience store cashier, and auto mechanic. Each job has its own unique environment, objects to interact with, and tasks given by good old JobBot. The game requires very little movement and is optimized very nicely. This makes it perfect for first-time VR owners or players to hop in without being scared of getting nauseous or dizzy. In the Job Simulator universe, humans have been completely replaced by bots, and the game takes place in 2050 in a virtual museum for bots to see what it was like to be a human in the workforce. Every level has its own tasks, or levels I guess you could say. None of them are difficult or challenging, just entertaining. Interacting with every new customer or coworker that strolls by is something I just couldn't get enough of. I was always wondering what I was going to be asked to do next and how I could do it in the goofiest way possible. On the surface, the game looks very silly and maybe even childish, but I found it really funny. All the little puns and jabs aimed at human nature are very creative and something I haven't seen or heard anywhere else. Like I said earlier, each job has its own unique workstation, and the game gives you so many opportunities to complete a task in any way you want. Does a car need gas? Fill the tank up with hot sauce. Need to make soup? How about making lemon corn and avocado soup? I'm okay. Where was I? Right. Every time you think you've seen everything you can interact with, you get surprised by a new possibility you would have never thought of. Now, the game is definitely not new by any means. Coming out in 2016 and having a sequel called Vacation Simulator, there have still been updates to Job Simulator as of January 2020. Now, if there is one thing I would add to this game, it's the ability to walk around and explore my place of work. Now, I don't need a giant open world or anything like that. Nothing too crazy. I just want to walk around and talk to customers in the restaurant or go see what the guy in the cubicle down the hall is up to. Now, say you completed all the tasks for all 4 jobs and you're still itching for some more. There's an infinite overtime mode. That's where you get to simply work overtime. All you need to do is flip the switch and, man, even old JobBot seems like he's had a rough day. You get new tasks and the environment is at night, because, you know, overtime. This adds so much replayability, and that is so important for games like this that are more on the lighthearted side. Job Simulator is perfect for new VR players, and even better to show someone who wants to see what it's like in a different reality. See what I did there? Anyways, I give Job Simulator 9 out of 10.
How's it going, everyone, and welcome to Game Over.
Stop. They already understand what's going on, just choose the game.
Fallout 76 is the latest in Bethesda's copy and paste adventure, introducing the same game-breaking technical issues, shady business practices, and overall subpar communication with its community. You could say Bethesda really had a falling out with their players. These factors and more branded Fallout 76 to be one of the biggest failures at launch ever. But now the question is, has the game redeemed itself with nearly 3 years under its belt? Well, to answer that, we need to take a closer look and start out with the bad. Like I said before, this game started out with bugs ranging from the very basic all the way to game-breaking. Enemies and textures wouldn't load correctly, you could take random damage for simply walking, and melee hits or gunshots wouldn't register or sometimes would even heal an enemy. Another bug turned exploit made the game's PvP entirely unstable, in that some players could clip through the map and discover developer-only areas that had every item in the game for them to duplicate. Essentially, if you played the game how it's supposed to be played, then you were already at a huge disadvantage. In light of these bugs, Bethesda tried to release different patches in hopes of shutting this exploit down and to resolve many of its performance issues, but it only made things worse. With every fix that was introduced, even more issues emerged, breaking the game further and pushing players away from it, all alongside some very misleading messaging from the developer. Speaking of misleading messaging, Bethesda also tried multiple times to squeeze every nickel and dime out of their players. From selling game mechanics which should have been there at launch, to falsely marketing collectible items in the real world and charging exuberant amounts of money for them, there seemed to be no line that Bethesda wouldn't cross to make a quick buck. In fact, they became so disconnected with their community that instead of focusing their efforts on fixing the issues in the game, they chose to make a battle royale, and wouldn't you believe it, it was awful. But on the bright side, it seemed that this was the wake-up call that Bethesda desperately needed. After being the laughingstock of the gaming industry for so long back in 2018, Bethesda seemed to be finally buckling down and adding the content that wasn't there before. The once empty landscape of Appalachia was finally filled with human NPCs to interact with, new daily missions to keep players occupied, randomly spawning large-scale events, and many other quality of life improvements. Alongside that, the monetization that was previously forced down the community's throats was toned back considerably, being used almost entirely for camp building furniture as of right now. Lastly, many of the previously destructive bugs that riddled this game at launch have been, for the most part, taken care of. Yes, they are still present, but it's at least nice to see that Bethesda has been taking steps to correct these issues. So to answer the question, has Fallout 76 redeemed itself? I would have to say yes it has. Now don't get me wrong, it's not perfect, but seeing Bethesda's efforts in attempting to transform this title into the game that it was promised to be back at launch, I would say that they're doing a good job now and that this game is actually worth picking up.
Thanks for watching Gen 2 on KNWT Channel 8.
We're just getting started, so don't touch that remote, mouse, or whatever you're watching on.
Don't do it.
Welcome back to Scrambled Secrets, where we show off the best hidden Easter eggs in video games. I'm video game enthusiast Austin Claypool, and today we'll be looking at Grand Theft Auto 5. GTA 5 was first released back in September of 2013. You heard me right, it's coming up on its 8th birthday later this year. The game is so popular that it got an upgrade to the PS4 and Xbox One after their launches, and it's getting yet another upgrade to the next generation of consoles. In this realistic, open-world third and first-person shooter, you play as 3 vastly different main characters, Michael, Trevor, and Franklin. The map in this game is detailed to an incredible degree, and hidden among those details are some pretty cool Easter eggs. So stick with me as I show off 5 Easter eggs hidden in Grand Theft Auto 5. Throughout the world of Los Santos, there are many Easter eggs that fall under the extraterrestrials category, like this spacecraft hovering high above the military base. Be careful if you attempt to board the ship, as some sort of force field keeps you from landing on it. This is far from the only alien ship lurking about in the skies above the city. In fact, here's another one hidden above the clouds in this artistic monument. Ironically, this art piece is titled, "Beam Me Up." I guess the artist wasn't kidding. This next one is hidden in the prologue. Most players would miss the frozen alien in the creek underneath the train tracks. You gotta act quick with this one though, because you'll fail the mission for abandoning the car. For Easter egg number 4, we have a reference to Nico, the main character of Grand Theft Auto 4. His Life Invader profile can be seen on Jimmy's laptop. Also, in this old house is a wanted poster featuring the character again. Once again, I'm ending this list with my favorite. At the top of Mount Chiliad, the tallest point in the game, there is a hidden diagram. Even after all these years, the meaning behind this image has yet to be determined. However, a popular theory is that there is a secret jetpack somewhere on the map. That's all I've got for this episode of Scrambled Secrets. Make sure to tune in next time for even more hidden Easter eggs you may have missed in your favorite video games. As always, I'm your host Austin Claypool. Thanks for watching.
What is up, and welcome back to another episode of Monkey Plays, where Trenton and I try to survive Rust. Last week, you guys saw us find an electric fuse and a green keycard, where we then took them to the sewer branch in search of loot and the blue keycard. This week, I said we were taking that blue keycard to the oil rig, but Trenton couldn't make it because of a playoff basketball game, so we wish him luck in his tournament. Remember in episode 2 where I said scrap was referenced to currency, and to earn more you could go gamble with it? Well, that's what we're going to be doing today. Without further ado, welcome to Rust. So how do we gamble? Well, the first thing we need is scrap. You don't need a specific amount of scrap. Heck, you can go gamble with a singular piece of scrap, but you better win on your first roll. I'm broke in terms of scrap, so I'm going to go hit some barrels and take some components to the recycler. So where do we gamble? There's only one place in Rust that you can gamble your scrap away, and that place is the bandit camp. The only other place in Rust where you are also in a safe zone. The second location is an outpost. Safe zones are areas in the map where player versus player fighting is not allowed. So now that we're at bandit camp and ready to gamble, first we'll head over to the spinning wheel. To play, sit down at each of the 6 chairs in front of the big wheel and interact with the metal console at your side. A countdown timer runs for 45 seconds prior to each wheel spin, giving you time to place your bets. Using any amount of scrap you want, you can place your bet on any of the 5 options, and each of those options has a different payout. If you choose 1, the payout is 1 to 1. If you choose 3, the payout is 3 to 1. 5 is 5 to 1, 10 is 10 to 1, and finally 20 is 20 to 1. Well, we went broke, guys. Gambling in Rust is never a good way to make a substantial amount of scrap. But because Trenton is at a basketball tournament, I didn't dare to go clear oil rig myself. Tune in next week where Trenton and I will take the blue keycard to oil rig, where we'll then have to fight off the scientists if we want to loot the blue keycard room. Thank you guys for watching. Because Trenton had to compete in a basketball tournament, today we went and gambled all of our scrap away. As always, have a good one, and we'll see you next week.
Welcome back to another week of Hidden Gems in Gaming. As always, I'm your host, John Taylor, and this week we're taking it back in time to a series of games that is over 10 years old. And it's a game that I poured countless of hours into, and it's one of the first games I ever played. I would even say it is one of the games that got me attached to video games today. This week's hidden gem is Fate: The Traitor Soul. Fate: The Traitor Soul is a fantasy action role-playing game in which you must venture through the hundreds of progressively difficult levels of the dungeon to complete quests and collect valuable items and gold, all while fighting random difficult monsters along the way. Think of this game like an old-school Diablo, but more kid-friendly. Booting up the game, you could easily tell from the graphics alone that this is from the mid-2000s. You are met with a title screen in which you create a new character. You can either choose adventure or hardcore mode depending on the difficulty you want to face while playing this game. After choosing your difficulty, you are then on to character customization, which there are 4 races that each have their own benefits to what playstyle you want to have. Humans are well balanced in every skill and can be used for any style of combat. Shadow Elves are distant characters which like to rely on bows and haste magic. Half-orcs are melee based and like to wield clubs and swords to bash their enemies. And Coggers are like humans being well balanced but have enhances in defense and vitality. After customizing and naming your character, you now get to choose which companion you would want to join you on your quest through the dungeon. You could choose from a dog, cat, boar, fox, and drone. None of the pets you choose, however, have any enhancements to them. It is purely for looks. But when playing the game, you can come across plenty of fish that you catch from fishing or buy from vendors, and feeding those fish to your pet will transform the pet into another creature for a certain amount of time or even permanently, thus giving it boosted stats and boosted defenses. You spawn in at the Temple of Fate. There, it shows you 3 different towns that you can travel to, all with different vendors selling different things, and each having their own dungeon that is completely random in the amount of loot, enemies, and layout. Each town has a final quest that you can work towards completing, which are in the deepest depths of the dungeon, so high level gear is definitely required. Upgrade your strength, dexterity, vitality, and magic to better prepare yourself for the dungeon. Every time you level up, you get 5 points to upgrade to those stats, and 2 points to use towards your skills, which, depending on your playstyle, can be used to better your damage towards what you are proficient in. I myself like to be most proficient in swords and shields. The experience I had playing this game as a kid, and even now, was fishing for hours on end to get a nice head start in the beginning, as you can commonly fish up high tier loot. Going through the dungeon levels, killing enemies, finding random crates, and even shrines to tempt my fate for some really high tier loot was always the most fun I have now and even when I was a kid. With the difficulty of the dungeon, it is almost certain that death will happen. But luckily for you, you have 3 choices when you die. You could choose to be brought back to life in exchange for XP and fame points, or brought back to life but be transported to a nearby level in exchange for a portion of your gold, and finally, the one I choose, is to be brought back to life, transported 3 levels up, but all your gold is left in the spot you died. Thus, you must choose your fate. Although it is an old game, it is still timeless in so many people's eyes, and is something I still play to this day. Thanks for tuning in to this week of Hidden Gems in Gaming, and I hope to see you join me next week on our next game.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Project Delta. As always, I'm your host, in the same shirt as last week. Probably unclean. I won't tell you. But Aaron James, and with me this week we have
Chris Young.
Today we're taking a trip down memory lane, hopping
off the battle bus.
Into Fortnite, and its luscious green hills, whatever the map is called.
Don't know.
And it's been a while, but it is on the next gen version, and it's worth talking about to an extent.
I
Fortnite it's still relevant, I guess. Released in 2017 on July 21st. It definitely became a terribly massive game. Like,
super successful. Like, no one would have predicted that, honestly.
it is a behemoth,
It
and
absolutely is.
it is unprecedented, like how big this game got. And it has done crossovers and collaborations with some of the biggest names and brands and
Yeah, because
in the world.
I
Like,
think right now they're doing The Mandalorian, and I think they just did Predator?
yeah, Predator is in here as like a mystery skin or something, and he's the very first skin on the Battle Pass. Like, talk about a way to get people to drop $10. Mandalorian's also insanely popular right now. And
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I won't lie. I was tempted. I started playing this, like I used to play it all the time back in 2017. Like, everyone on my college dorm floor was playing this game, me included, and I stopped playing it because I just got really tired of the building. But the game is fun, but the community behind it is not the best. I mean, it's a very unique community for sure. But then I started playing it again about a few weeks ago on PC with a couple of my other friends, and honestly, we have been having a great time. Now, I'm no pro at it, but I mean, I've played it a good amount now.
yeah, and so you're talking about the community and how you think it's one of the most toxic communities of all time, maybe. Or I guess you didn't really say that, but that's kind of what I was thinking, I guess, when you said that, because it is an interesting community. Very passionate, but the people that are the loudest in it, I feel like are toxic
Oh,
to
I
an extent.
agree.
Maybe not like the biggest like streamers and stuff within the Fortnite community, but like all of their fans and then like the fans that populate the YouTube comments or whatever.
Well, yeah. I mean, most of them are children, which, I mean, children don't know any better, which is understandable. However, it is no... Oh, shoot. All right, getting shot from...
Combat.
Yeah.
Chris's first combat.
Something like that. Oh,
It's a
God.
banana.
Come on.
See, I mean, I've been out of here
There
for
we
a
go.
while. You're shooting bananas.
Yeah, that... apparent. Oh, shoot.
Right now, you're rocking a Season 3 skin. Not Chapter 2 Season 3. Is that 2 in a row, Chris?
Yeah, it is. Double whammy, I suppose. I did not expect to get anywhere close to that, but all right. I'm not going to say no. But yeah, no. So, oh, shoot. Okay.
Non-stop.
Oh, wow. This SMG has a lot of recoil. Goodness gracious.
Come on, Chris.
I know,
Hit him
I know.
with the beams.
All right.
Lars the kid? More like Lars
More like
dead.
Loser the Kid. That's a real knee slapper and
It
a
was
half.
a knee slapper, let me tell you.
Oh, goodness. But yeah, no, so like the community, like I said, mostly kids, understandable. They don't really know any better. It does get annoying. However, oh, there's a person in the distance. There's tryhards that are adults, which that's usually where the toxicity comes from because they know a little bit, they know a few more swear words, let's just say.
Yeah.
So,
And so you're kind of referring to even just like the game chat and like if you're playing squads with randoms or something along those lines, even
Yep.
like, yeah. And I would agree with that, which some of the most fun I remember having like in a battle royale or even just a multiplayer shooter, I guess, could be like some moments in Fortnite with randoms, but it's also when I have witnessed like some of the most harassment, like, or bullying, like.
sorry, I thought I saw a dude in the distance. I got scared.
If you don't have sick 90s, you're about to get laughed off
Oh,
of
yeah.
the squad fill. And
Oh, it is dark.
yeah, is that new? Has Fortnite always had a day and night cycle? I don't even
remember them having a
and
day and
I
night
can see
cycle.
leaves flying around and stuff.
Oh, shoot, I did.
The next gen upgrade, it's pretty nice. It looks pretty good.
Oh, absolutely. Like, it's beautiful, and it runs, because I think on the PS4, it either ran at 30 FPS or it stayed at a low 60
I was gonna say,
FPS.
I think it was 60, but I don't think it was locked. And
Okay.
here it definitely
Yeah.
is. It looks pretty
But
nice.
no, this, like, it looks and feels great. Like, I mean,
there's a lot more shadows and stuff than I remember there ever being, like all these trees.
all the,
Which even right now, I guess the moon's casting shadows, but
where's
it's
the moon?
I just meant like
Oh, yeah, no,
causing
I
the
see what you
trees
mean.
to
The
cast
bloom.
shadows,
Like, Fortnite is a fantastic looking game, too. Oh, I was getting shot at. Hold on. A little
So-
intermission.
not to distract you while you're in combat, but Fortnite seems to be a game that is great.
Shoot.
It's all right. What is that? An
I
apple?
don't know what that was.
So there's bananas. There's
That's an apple.
apples.
That's an apple, dude.
He's a
wearing,
blue apple.
He's wearing a suit, and he has a cape. Okay, hop right in.
Yeah, you just got juiced.
All
All right. So, Fortnite seems to be a game that always has something up their sleeve to get people to hop back on. And, I mean, that whether it's the Mando skin or a Marshmello concert or a Travis Scott concert or some big season finale event like to end off Chapter 1 with the robot and the giant monster fighting.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
I still remember the videos of like whenever Fortnite was shut down for a little bit.
Yeah,
and
for-
like there was little kids like, I want Fortnite
For like
back."
2 days, and it drove people crazy.
And, yeah, it was like I hate to say it, but it was pretty funny because like tons of kids were like, I just want to play Fortnite, and then they were asking their parents, why can't I play?
It's like, well, I can't. You know, it's like a drug. Can I? Is that,
No, absolutely, yeah.
It is addicting.
I
you know,
mean-
to these little kids.
Yeah,
They definitely get some serotonin.
That's-
from getting on here, hitting sick 90s, hitting the
Building
the
hotels.
Orange Justice, and then riding off
doing
into
the
sunset
dabs,
with
you know? Oh, I guess dabbing. Doing the dabs is a different thing. I have no idea. I'm just gonna go there. I gotta thank the bus driver too. But yeah, no, like the game itself looks great, and aside from the toxic community, this is one of, if not the best optimized game for multiple different platforms because I can play with people on PlayStation 5. I'm on the PC completely flawless, and there's no hoops that you have to go through to, link this other account with this account. No, you just literally, everyone has their own Epic Games account name, and you just type that in and you're good to go. It took me 5 seconds for a crossplay team up.
And that's nice. Yeah. And Fortnite has been one of the leaders in crossplay for sure, and that's awesome. And I would like to see more games have that same ease.
Absolutely.
And that same just ability in the first place.
I will say, sorry.
Actually, Fall Guys just got bought by Epic Games, and
I'm excited to see where that goes because I used to play that all the time. I mean, you remember?
Fall Guidance.
Oh.
How could we forget?
Oh, yeah, I wish I could.
Fall Guys might get crossplay now, and that'd be pretty neat.
I hope it goes free to play because that would bring it. Because it's it was a pandemic game.
Yeah.
So a lot of people played it, and I know people still play it, and I like the game. But if it goes free to play, it'll get a huge resurrection that it
surge up again.
Yeah. I really hope that they do something great with Fall Guys.
I saw that they said they have they are planning to use features that are known to Fortnite. They were talking about squad versus squad mode, which I know there's team games and stuff, but
that's kind of cool.
They have more team-oriented things in mind and probably more fleshed out ideas instead of just a random mini game that's within your actual game.
Shoot. Those are bad NPCs. Oh.
Maybe you should just head towards them because we are actually
all right.
Almost out of time here on Project Delta.
Let's go ham.
And I'd like to see what you got. Oh, what you got, Chris?
Maybe.
But it was nice having you on here. I'd like to thank you for being a guest on Project Delta.
Thank you. Oh gosh.
And I'd like to thank you guys for watching. It's great to host you guys, and I'll see you again next week on KNWT Channel 8.